Hello and welcome. Today we want to show you our new gateways, so the Sympholight gateway, BACnet and KNX. And today we will also do some practice, so I will show you the latest integration into Sympholight, how you can connect this and what to do in big projects with Symphocity. So thanks for joining, enjoy the training. First of all, you may already have seen our gateways. So there are two gateways on the market. So on the left side, you see the big one, the KNX gateway. And on the right side, you see the BACnet gateway. So both gateways are developed to integrate into our Sympholight platform. And as well, you can connect this to any other KNX and BACnet system. For those of you who already didn't know what is BACnet and KNX, so we will give you a quick update about the standard, about the protocols, and then we can go deeper into this training session. First of all, the general topic of all challenges in each project. So each system are separate. So you have separate system in a big building, like the security system, you have the emergency system, but as well you have the lighting system or water system, elevator system, and so on and so on. And each system are individual and operate by their own. So you have different companies who needs to work together. And for those challenges, there are different protocols on the market to enable cooperation between the system and report everything centralized to a building management system and make a building really smart. So you have separate systems. They are all specialized in their capabilities. But overall, the mandatory of cooperation of the system. One of this, let's say, protocols is BACnet, and BACnet is a well-known industry standard. So it's a well-known common network protocol for building automation. So it's not only to operate between systems, but also between sensors, actuators, controllers, management systems. BACnet is manufacturer not neutral and license free, so this is also the reason why BACnet is very well known or very widespread all over the planet in different countries and used from big manufacturers like Cisco, Siemens, Honeywell and Johnson, as well as Schneider. And it is really an industry standard, and you can use it in each, it's very often used in many projects. So the communication is bidirectional, so it means also it transports in both directions, so sensor information, actuator information or controller information in all directions. If we're talking about BACnet, BACnet works with data points. So there are classifications of different data points are called objects, and these objects are all over more than 50 different definitions of data points. For instance, a device, an analog input, a binary output, a file, a scheduler, and so on. So all this kind of data points called objects are well defined in the BACnet standard. At the moment, I guess we have the standard 23 or 24, depending a little bit when you watch this video. There are still progress in the development of the standard. An object itself can have multiple properties. So you can imagine, so you have an object like a sensor, then there is a property like the current status of the sensor, but there could be also properties like the min value, the max value. So all this information and limits or site information are packed into one object, and this object can be combined with our software. So very good to interoperate between systems. For instance, you have a sensor which has to operate in a given temperature range, and as soon as reach the max limit, then there will be automatically a warning. So you do not need an extra warning system. It can be defined in the object. It can be reported directly to the building management system. KNX is also a well-known standard for, let's say, small or medium project. It's developed since the 90s. starting in Germany, but it becomes a global standard. There are many hundreds of manufacturers who already who implemented KNX into their portfolio. Mainly, these manufacturers are specialized in KNX, and there are hundreds of coupler of actors, and so on and so on. So KNX is very, let's say, professional. There's a wide range of products, and the benefit of the system is that the products are working together with each other. So let's say you press a button, and then automatically the button communicates directly, for instance, with the lighting system, with a light, with a bulb. Or you press a button, and the button directly communicates directly to the shades. So there is no building management system between, so you do not have a single point of failure, because the systems are interoperate with each other. So you can tell that KNX is decentralized, and you have this peer-to-peer communication. It supports multiple communication media, so there are wireless functionality, there are cable functionality. So KNX have a well-known standard and a lot of, let's say, grown functionality in the past. And KNX is really a professional standard for the building automation. And as I mentioned, different manufacturers. So there are hundreds of manufacturers who are part of the KNX association, and so if you know, if you buy an actor and if you buy a switch, so there's always a possibility that these devices can work with each other. From the KNX association, there is a software called ETS, and with this ETS software, you will do the commissioning of the devices itself, and so with this software, you can also create, let's say, the logic within the devices. So there's one software for communication of KNX. Okay, a quick overview. So on the left side, we have the BACnet system. So mainly the BACnet system is centralized, that you have something in between, so that the communication is regulated. And you see here different systems. So BACnet is more on the top of the whole bunch of different building systems. So you have the air conditioning system, you have the security systems, all operate itself, but to communicate with the building management system, to communicate to a centralized system, they're using the BACnet standard, for instance. And on the bottom left, you see here also Sympholight is one part of the whole system. So for instance, Sympholight does not control the security, or does not control, or is not responsible for the emergency system. So this is the reason why you have a lot of specialized systems which are working independently, but they can communicate to the building management system to have an all overview about your building. On the right side, you see the biggest difference. KNX, as I mentioned, is made to communicate directly between actors and inputs. So there is no single point of failure. But from time to time, you want to combine the KNX system, for instance, with our Sympholight system. And for this, you can implement Sympholight. And let's say you take a KNX actor, or take a KNX switch and press a button, and this press command should be transmitted into the Sympholight system to start a sequence or to interact with our DALI logic. So everything is possible. So you can also use sensors of KNX world and bring the sensor information also into the Sympholight world. Okay, now I already started to talk about what is possible with Sympholight. So Sympholight, nearby everything is possible to interact with an external system in both directions. So for instance, you can report the system status from Sympholight to a building management system. You can read out energy information from Sympholight. You can control sequences via building management system, or let's say via BACnet inputs. But also in the opposite, you can report the information of which sequence is running directly to the systems. As well, DALI sensor, for instance, could be used or could be transmitted to a building management. For instance, just an example, let's say you want to have all the DALI sensor of your building, you want to have report this information of the current status of the sensor to the security systems, and this will be also possible, that you take all the sensor information from each ceiling, from each room, collecting via Sympholight and transmitting this information out via building management system to the security system. From time to time, you can also change color information. So let's say you want to press a button and change the color within a sequence. That will be possible. Luminaire data can be exchanged, brightness information. For instance, you have an emergency case, the emergency system sends alert, but then it should also send a trigger to Sympholight to increase the brightness, to put everything to 100% within your building. So just an example how flexible the integration can be. Yeah, backup system, it's also possible that in case of one Sympholight server would fail and the backup server takes over, that the building management system will get this information. The maintenance crew will automatically see this information and can act and check what's going on in the server room. Okay, a quick overview, a very rough overview how the technique behind looks like. So on the left side you see Sympholight, latest version of Sympholight, always a good choice. And between we have the BACnet or KNX gateway, both working very similar. And to communicate between the BACnet gateway and Sympholight, we are using the MQTT standard, which is a very well-known standard from the IoT. So it gives a huge flexibility to communicate between, let's say, Sympholight and the BACnet gateway. One side fact is that also the Core S or Core SP is capable to interact with the gateway. Very similar, so you create your logic within the Sympholight workflow and then export this to the Core S, and the Core S will interact with the gateway. It's the same way. So also for smaller system, it's very easy to implement. Talking a little bit about MQTT. What is MQTT for those of you who didn't heard about this? Yeah, first of all, in the middle there is a broker. So it's a broker like yeah, one central point where all information come together, where the status of the current, let's say, sensor information or object information is stored. So, and different participants of the network can report new information. So for instance, you have a new sensor value, then this new sensor value will send to the broker, and the broker will store this information at this time. Other application like the gateway can subscribe. So it's very similar like Netflix, that you can subscribe information, and as soon as there's a new information, this information will automatically push from the broker to the application or to the device. And so the device which subscribes the information are always up to date. So for instance here, so Sympholight has a new opacity. So this new opacity will be reported to the MQTT broker. The web application, for instance, subscribed this topic called opacity. So we're always talking about topics. And as soon as the opacity has changed, there will be automatically an exchange between the broker and the web application to keep the web application up to date. So in this case, we are showing the wonderful Symphocity. But also on the other side, for instance, we want to report a new temperature from our Sympholight directly to the MQTT broker, through the MQTT broker to our gateway. So you have this temperature will be reported to the MQTT broker, the gateway subscribed this information, gets this new information of the new temperature, and automatically will translate this information via BACnet or KNX to the building management system. So very roughly, so I really advise you to have a look on YouTube, for instance, where you find very a lot of videos which explain MQTT more in detail. Just a rough overview. MQTT is used via network, so you just need a network cable to connect this to Sympholight. Talking about the MQTT broker, MQTT broker is directly part of Sympholight. So within Sympholight, within our application, there's a broker running which can be accessed via an external software. Talking about an external software to monitor this information, there's a well-known, let's say, standard application which is free, so you can download from internet, called MQTT MQTT Explorer. With this tool, you directly can access to the Sympholight MQTT broker. So you just need to enter some credentials. So later on we will have a look onto this in more detail. Just to give you a rough understanding, so with this software, the software acts like say the BACnet gateway or the web application. That this software is able to have a look onto the broker, what's going on, and detecting or seeing directly changes on the data points. Next one is how to connect this within Sympholight. So within Sympholight, we implemented within the workflow designer 2 new blocks called the MQTT send block or send MQTT block and the receive MQTT blocks. Within these blocks, you can define called topics, and these topics can be a string, a double, an integer, or whatever. And so you can report states like true or false. You can report strings like text, or you can report also new numbers like a sensor value. As well as receiving, this is the opposite direction, that you want to receive, you want to subscribe something from the broker, and you want to use this information within Sympholight. So, but we'll go in detail more later. Talking about the new workflow blocks within Sympholight. So we have, let's say, a protection within Sympholight, so covered by a communication credit. So when you purchase a Sympholight BACnet or KNX gateway, you will automatically be allowed to use this within our software. Please, as soon as you get your credit, or as soon as you get your device, please contact us and make an credit request. So you will get it for free, but please do not forget, without this credit it will not work. So the license credit update is quite easy. So you go to the license information within Sympholight, and we will have also look to this deeper later on. Okay, beside KNX and BACnet, there are 100 more, or many more well-known protocols in the market. So we are also able to provide other protocols in bigger projects. So if you have any question, feel free to come to us, and so we can talk about an individual solution. So yeah, you see here a big list, so freeze this video to have a look. But let's say most common project are KNX and BACnet. Just in case, it could be also possible that you need a Modbus integration. That's also possible, or for the car industry, a CAN bus integration. That's also possible with our gateways, so maybe in a different hardware version of it, but the option is there. Okay, and now let's have a look into the details. So here we see the web UI of our gateway. First of all, you need to connect the gateway to your network. So the same network card you are using for Sympholight communication may be suitable. And when you open your browser, you need to enter the right IP address. If your gateway is out of the box or factory new, then the default IP address will be with the end at the end, so like this. So in my case, I already configured my gateway, and I have this on, via this IP address. So my firmware is a little bit older, but it doesn't matter. So you may see on your gateway the new EQ logo and some smaller improvements. So the default login credentials are admin and EQ. So If you're not sure, please check the manual, so from eq.com or tracks-eq.com. On our website you will find the download section of the gateway, and there are the up-to-date manuals and spec sheets. So, okay, let's go in. First of all, you will be informed that you need to change your password, so we recommend to provide an own login credentials. What do we see here? On the top we see a menu with general settings of gateway, system settings, MQTT settings, Modbus IP we can ignore, and the BACnet configuration. First of all, this, let's say, the beginning of this training, or this first part of the training is about the BACnet gateway. Later on I will also explain the KNX gateway, but it's very similar, so this part will be a little bit shorter. Talking about the general settings, so first of all, you see here an overview about the name of the gateway. Use data points. So data points is also a very important topic we need to discuss. And of course, different settings you can do here on the left side. So the most important settings are the IP settings. So about IP address, DHCP settings, and so on, the host name and web server configuration, etc. So here you can configure an own IP address and change the most important settings. Besides this, you can also restart the gateway just in case you make some changes. The system or the gateway will inform you to restart the gateway to take over the latest settings. What else is important? So restart I already mentioned. Update. Here in this case, you can upgrade also your license. Talking about license, there are various gateways in our portfolio with different quantities of data points. What is a data point? The data point is, let's say property in one direction. So for instance, you want to read the status of one sequence. So if sequence one is running, then this is the data point. You want to read the information of one light sensor, the lighting information is one data point. And this data point can be mapped to an BACnet or KNX data point. So in the opposite direction, these are other data points or count the same, but let's say you want to read out the information of the sequence, and this is one data point. You want to control the sequence with the start-stop, so this is another object, and this is another data point. So in total, for one sequence, you would use for status and control 2 data points. So the standard gateway, so without any data point, so the smallest versions comes with 50 data points, 25 data points. So enough for, let's say, 10 sequences to start and stop. But there are several different versions of the gateway. Up to 2,500 data points are possible. If needed, then we talk about different hardware settings, so this will be also possible. But for the most common projects, if you need to report DALI information, ballast information, and so on, so you are always good with 500 data points. By the way, data points, it will be delivered with a quantity of data points, so there are also different prices for the gateways, but it's also possible to upgrade in the field the gateway, so you can place an order and we will create an upgrade file, send you over this upgrade file, and in the field you can upgrade the gateway by your own to increase the amount of data points. But please keep in mind this will take time, so we please calculate this time, so 1 or 2 days for upgrading process until the invoice is created and so on. So data point upgrades are always possible. Okay, what else do we have? So we have this overview, we have the IP settings, so the IP address, we have the login credentials here, and we have this MQTT settings. So in my case, I already have some MQTT settings within my gateway. I already prepared this. We have the BACnet data point settings here, and besides this, there is also the way of, let's say, translation. So we call it the translation file, the mapping file, so that you translate MQTT into BACnet in the opposite direction. So for MQTT, you need to create this kind of settings. For MQTT, you need to create this the settings, and you need to have it, let's say, translation files between. So this translation file is called a dispatch file. So I will explain later more in detail, but now for let's say in helicopter view about the settings within the gateway, I think this is a good starting point. So data points of BACnet, the dispatch file, and as well the MQTT data files are stored here. MQTT data points. Okay, talking about MQTT, so this is the first direction, so let me show you this again. So you have the gateway between, so you have this MQTT communication in the direction of Sympholight. So first of all, we want to set up this connection, that the gateway can talk with Sympholight first. For this, you need to configure the MQTT settings here, and you can do on the left. First of all, you need the host IP address. So the host IP address is my PC running Sympholight, so it could be also a Core SP, or it could be also some LCE server, etc. The port, we recommend to use port 8883. This is an encrypted port. There's also another port called 1883. This is a non-encrypted version. Then you need admin and also the username and password. So these are your Sympholight settings within the application settings. So okay, let me show this to you. So within Sympholight, you have this application settings here, and here via web, you will find the configuration of your network interface. You will find your, let's say, web port. This is not the MQTT setting. You will find the username and the password credentials here. Okay, and now we see a configuration or misconfiguration, because this is now on port 2. So the gateway will not communicate with Sympholight because it's a different port. Okay, for this we need to reconfigure our gateway to this port. Okay, and now you will see, or first of all, let me show to you, because now we have the wrong settings here, and you would see here that there is a failure, so value is 1. So you will see here also, okay, 1, there's a failure, and failure is not good. So the communication cannot be established. For this, we need to configure the correct IP address. Please, check your settings that they will be the same like mine here. So you can stop this video and configure this in the same way. So let's enter the correct IP address, scroll down, and save. So now you get the information that all data has been saved. You can continue working, but the information will be not, let's say, stored, or taken over. So you need to restart the gateway to the right configuration. Okay, and restart. Yes, we want to restart. Meanwhile, so the settings are straightforward. Please feel free to check the user manual. Within the user manual, and you will find all the settings in various chapters. So I think this video will help also. Okay, let's check the status. Okay, we see here there's still status number 1. Check why. Okay, now just an update issue. Okay, the status is now, or the failure is 0, so the communication is established to the MQTT. So also the status is 4. 4 is also good. So we have this communication now to our Sympholight instance in the correct way. Okay, so these are the MQTT settings. The Sympholight settings. So first of all, I mentioned we established the connection to Sympholight. So here in Sympholight, I already prepared a small project file. So it's very simple. We have some sequences, we have the Grandmaster, and just for the training today, I just want to show how to read out the current status of the sequences. So is the sequence running or not, or is this paused? And I want to be able to control via BACnet the sequence itself. So I want to start and stop the sequence from or via gateway from the BACnet system. Yeah, for this I prepared a small workflow. I prepared a small project file. So you see here we have some sequences here. Within this workflow, you see here on the top left, let me zoom a little bit in, with the received MQTT workflow block. So the blocks can be found on the left side within the interface section. We have here send MQTT and receive MQTT. Again, it is important that you have the license for this. If you do not have the license, then you need to upgrade your dongle. So you need a Sympholight license and you need to have this credit. If you purchased a gateway, then you are, let's say, allowed to have this license, or then you have the rights to use this license, then you need to upgrade your license. Let me explain this quickly. So within this help menu, license and credit overview, you will see here the current license you already have. In case you do not have the the gateway license, you have to order, or you have to create this order. For this, fill out all this text here. In my case, I already have this gateway communication credit. If not, then activate this, fill it out, click proceed, then you will get a text block, and this text block can be sent via email to our sales colleagues. So just keep in mind, if you do not have this license, then here will be a red warning that the license is not valid there, and then the receive and MQTT functionality is not enabled. Okay, I prepared this. Let me show what I've done here. Within this workflow block, you see here that we have a double data type. We have this topic, so an MQTT topic called Grandmaster set. So I will show later on the MQTT Explorer how it looks like. And this is an identifier. The identifier is just, let's say, here on the left side on the block, the label on the block. But the important thing is the topic, that you define the right topic. And on the other hand, we want to send also data to MQTT. So again, on the left side, this means I want to get information from MQTT. So I want to subscribe topics with the name sequence1/set or grandmaster/set. I want to subscribe this from our MQTT broker. And I want to publish something from my workflow designer to the MQTT broker. So very similar here. So the data type in this case is in double. We have this identifier here on the block, and we have the topics we want to use to publish our current status. So let me just explain for understanding my current workflow. So I have here the sequence number 1 set. So it means if this state changed from 0 or 1 or 2, then if there is a 0, then sequence number 1 will be stopped. If there is a 1, sequence 1 will be started, and if there is a 2 coming from the MQTT Explorer, then there will be a pause. So in this playback state, let me start the sequence here, is now 1. And this playback state needs to be reported back to the BACnet gateway, reported back to the KNX system. So the playback state has been changed to 1, and then we have here the block 1, and this 1 will be reported automatically to MQTT. So let us stop this. So we have here it's fading out, then we have a 0, and here also a 0. No? Okay, I hope this is quite simple. If not, just contact us. So, but yeah, to understand, we have receive and we have send MQTT messages. So, and I already told at the beginning, there's a tool called MQTT Explorer. You can download this for free. Yeah, just choose the search engine of yeah, you like, and then search for MQTT Explorer. And with this tool, you can check what's going on the MQTT broker. I already opened this here. So you have seen that the sequence 1 has been changed, and we have now here the status of sequence 1. If I go now to the output tab and starting sequence number 2, so the sequence is running now, checking the MQTT broker, and you see here the state of sequence 1, sequence 2 is 1. So we're reporting this topics to the broker. So we will not receive now messages from the gateway. At this point, we're just reporting the current status of the sequences. Let me show this a little bit better here. So sequence number 3 starting, you see here, sequence number 3 has been started, sequence number 2 has been stopped. Sympholight logic, mutex group, so quite easy. So let's stop it. Okay. Now we want to have the other direction. So we want to trigger via MQTT directly into Sympholight into the workflow. And then we want to start the sequences. This can be done, of course, via BACnet. So, but at this point, so we can test it directly from our gateway. Let me open the website, MQTT. So you see here, I already create some data points for MQTT. So we have this subscribed data points, so the state. And you would see here also, if I scroll down, and when I start here now, sequence number 1, so that this information will be published here. Sometimes you need to update here, and you see here, okay, the status has been changed to 1. So again, sequence number 3 is starting. Update here because this is just a web UI. You see here now sequence number 3 has been started, sequence number 1 has been stopped. Also with pause functionality, let's pause sequence number 3, refresh, and yeah. This is just for testing, just for your reference, so that you always can set up this here within or that you can test your data points. So now we want to start and stop the sequences, and the same logic. So if you're sending a 1, it will start, sending a 0, it will stop, and sending a 2, it will pause the sequence. In our case, let's stop here now the sequence number 3. Okay. And I want to publish a new topic to start sequence number 1. So you can do it this way. So we send over now a new value. 1 means starting. So, and now you see here, sequence number 1 has been started. You see this also at the MQTT Explorer within the sequence 1 underscore set topic. So, okay. So this will be created as soon as there's a new value. Then you see here this topic. So let us repeat this. I want to start now sequence number 4. We start now sequence number 4. See here, it will start. Sequence number 1 is still running. But also in our workflow, you see here now sequence 4 state is 1. So sequence is running. Okay. Same if we want to stop this. So sequence 1 status should be 0, and here this should be also 0 to stop. Perfect. Okay, So I hope you understand a little bit the logic behind. So you have MQTT within Sympholight. You have this MQTT interface to Sympholight. You have publish messages and you have subscribe messages. So, okay. So now you may be interested how to create these data points. As well, we need, already mentioned this, we need to create also BACnet data points. And we need to create within this gateway also the translation from MQTT to BACnet in the opposite. So there are some translation rules. This is a little bit more complex, but for this we provide also a small tool, a small Excel tool where you can create this kind of translation. For deeper understanding, I can provide here also an own configuration file. Let me show this for MQTT. So we have here the MQTT data point definition. So, and you can here also edit this data point. You see here, for instance, the grandmaster, this is sequence number 1. So this is the topic. This is the name of the data point, query information, and which kind of data information it is. Looks quite complex. Please feel free to check the manual. I really recommend to use this Excel file to create this kind of configuration files. The same for BACnet. So if we have look here, BACnet files, and then we have the data point configuration. Here we go. We see here that there are a lot of information can be provided for BACnet data points, as well for the translation. So it's called the global dispatch file. The dispatch file is really the translation from BACnet to MQTT and in the opposite. So you can see this here. So quite looking complex. If you're using this directly in this configuration mask, I really recommend to use the Excel tool. So let's have a look into this Excel file. So this is also coming now from my, let's say, current setting. So feel free to contact us so we can provide you this Excel file. And with this file, you have the possibility to create the MQTT topics, you create the BACnet objects, and this tool automatically creates also the translation, so the dispatch file. So there is a small macro in the background which creates 3 files, and these files can be stored on your HDD, and you can import these files directly as settings files into the gateway. What do we have here? On the left side there's a general description. So you see here the top MQTT section, you see here the BACnet section, and here a general description. So we have, for instance, the grandmaster state. So as the name said, this is just a state. So we want to subscribe to the grandmaster state MQTT topic. So we define the format as well. So in this case, we take an integer 16. And on the right side, we define the BACnet data point. So device is local. AI means it is an analog input value, and the instance is a number which needs to be unique for the input. So it's the same for output. You can use the same instance number, but please keep in mind that inputs needs to be unique. So you cannot provide for multiple analog inputs the same instance, because then you will have a collision. Okay, and the next line is set information. So we want to publish to MQTT topic grandmaster set, and the output from the analog output from BACnet is also on the instance 3000. Same as the sequences, so feel free to pause this video and have a look on this. Again, feel free to contact us, contact me, so I can provide you this tool. This is very helpful. Finally, you need to click on generate, and then it will generate again 3 configuration files which can be easily imported into the gateway. Within the gateway, we have now here at the point MQTT files. Here I can upload now the data, the MQTT1.txt file. So the other one, the driver, don't have to be touched. The CA file don't has to be touched. The dispatch file, this is the translation file, you can also update, or you need to update. So if you click on Start Upload, choose File. Sorry, my front end is in German language. You need to trust me. So in this case, so I want to go into this folder. And here we have this MQTT1.txt file open, and then start import. Okay. So you get also the notification that a restart is required, but we want to also to upload the dispatch file. Start upload file, and we want to upload the dispatch file. Yes. And same for BACnet. For BACnet, we want to upload the data point configuration, back1.txt. So start upload, choose file, and back1.txt. So, okay, start. So, now click on restart device, and next, and restart. Yes. Okay. So some waiting time until the gateway has been restarted. So restarted now. It may take some seconds after every change has been taken over after restart, but the gateway is mostly very quick. So let's check the MQTT. So after successful import, it should look like this. Same as BACnet, that you see here now the configuration we uploaded into the gateway. Okay, and now we want to test our settings. So now I have the possibility to get the BACnet state. We can send over also the grandmaster or the sequence sequence setting. So in the best case, if I now enter here a 1, press OK, then you see here, okay, sequence number 1 state has been changed, and it is running. So so these are BACnet data points, so the BACnet objects. So if I now start here in BACnet sequence 2 set and pressing 1, you see here sequence 2 will start, and this is immediately really the BACnet network, which can be directly reported to or can be exchanged with a building management system. For testing now, so because building management system is very complex, and let's say if you are not out of this BACnet world, so it might be complex. For testing, there's also a free tool I really can recommend. This tool called Yebi. Let me show this to you. So this is an, let's say, free explorer for BACnet data points. So it's called yet another BACnet explorer called Yebi. So check on your search engine, and I can really recommend to download this to make a quick check of your data points. First of all, in this tool, we need to scan for our gateway. In this case, we need to set port to BAC0, and we need to choose our network card. In my case, this is network card 2 at my laptop. And if I click Start now, here we'll find immediately our gateway with the IP address 54 at the end. Okay, see here also Sympholight gateway 2000. It is also already detecting all our data points, our objects we configured within the gateway. So You need to refresh this, but quite there. So what do we see here now is the state data points, and we see here also the set options. So let's stop sequence number 2. And I already select sequence number 2, the state, and you need to refresh, and you will see here the present value is 0. So if I start now sequence number 3, check the state, it's 1. So here sequence 1 is not running, present value is 0, sequence number 3 is running, present value is 1. Also for the grandmaster, so we want to have the set of the grandmaster. Currently you won't see anything because there was no interaction. Now you should see here the present value is 100. If I move this down and refresh, here the current value is 53. Same in the opposite. I want to change the grandmaster. So for my BACnet system, then you can enter here a new value. Let's put it back to 100. And you see here in Sympholight, it's showing the current opacity is 100. Going back to 20, pressing enter, so it goes down. And the same also for the sequences. I want to start sequence number 1. So no, sequence number 1 is currently okay. Yeah, you need to enter this value here 1 again. Maybe misconfiguration here. Preset value and so okay, here sequence number 2 is running. So now we want to start sequence number 1, and yeah, sequence number 1 is running. So this is a great way to check the settings of BACnet. You can check the BACnet settings, and within MQTT you see here on the Explorer already all settings. Let me put this to here. Whoops. No. Okay. Windows. Okay. So a lot of data points, but now just for explanation, let's see also on the top the MQTT Explorer here. So sequence number 1 is running, so we can read out the state. The present value is 1, so it means sequence 1 is running. So we want to start via BACnet sequence number 2. So I change the setting. So here you see also this is an update, sequence number 2. Oh, something is wrong with my sequence number 2. Now again, okay. So you see here in the MQTT Explorer that sequence number 2, the state has been changed to 1. The latest set of sequence 2 was the value 1, and the sequence 2 has been started in Sympholight. Okay. Something I forget to mention is within the gateway, it might be mandatory to check your TLS setting for network communication within MQTT. So please check. So it's also mentioned in the manual, but it might be an issue. So please feel to check the MQTT settings. And within the MQTT settings, you won't see the TLS settings. It's may an older web UI here of the gateway. Just in case some further settings for network communication via MQTT within the configuration file. There's also a configuration file for the driver, for the MQTT driver. And if you click here on Edit, there are further deeper settings. And here there is TLS setting. And please check that this is set to 1 and 1. So don't verify certification to 1 and use system CAC certs also to 1. Very important. It might be an issue in your system. I think if you have a newer web UI of this, it's already here in the general MQTT settings, the TLS flag. But yeah, feel free to check. Okay, talking about the KNX gateway, which is quite similar to the BACnet gateway. You may remember that the topology of KNX is, let's say, a little bit different, but yeah, very similar to the BACnet, but it's a different standard. On the right side here, you see yeah, a typical setup that also let's say the devices themselves can communicate with each other. So we have here a glass touch, a touch device with multiple buttons, toggle buttons, and on the right side, for instance, we have a relay. And this is exactly what I have here now in my setup. I have this touch device. I can toggle this button. And on the right side, I have a relay. So in our setup, we just use one relay connected to this button station. So if I press a button, the relay will toggle and again. There are different kinds of monitoring options to the KNX bus. I have here a small device from Weinziel. It's connected via USB to my PC. And it monitors the KNX bus. And besides this, the touch device here also provides the temperature, the current temperature. There's a temperature sensor inside of the wall mount touch interface. Have a look into this into the software called Net and Node Bus Monitor. Let's clear the overview here. You may have to zoom in a little bit, but here you see all, let's say, events happening on the connected USB bus, KNX bus. So now I press this button, and here you see that there is a command from this button to the relay, and the relay, which has the source address, will report automatically the current status. So I toggle between 0 and 1, 1 and 0, so open and close the relay. And when I press again, it will happen again. Okay. Yes. Okay, again. So you see here some messages dropping in. And from time to time, you will see here also the monitoring that the bus device or the touch device will also provide the current temperature, which is provided to other devices within the KNX bus. Okay, let's have a look into our KNX gateway. So the web UI looks quite similar. In my case, I have now the IP address number 3 at the end. But yeah, the structure is very similar. So you have the network settings here, which needs to be configured. Yeah, quite similar to the BACnet gateway. Meanwhile, you see here, there was also some information. And this is the current temperature. So you see here, from time to time, there are updates regarding temperature. Okay, the gateway itself, it's very similar as I mentioned. So in the top, you see here now the MQTT menu, and you see here AEB, which is let's say another synonym for KNX. So it's the older brand of KNX. So KNX is more the international naming. AEB is the old one. Yes, I already prepared some data points here. So we have the AEB or KNX data point, the relay 1 toggle. So it means with this I can toggle the relay. I see here the current temperature as a data point, and I see the relay status, so the information. So with this I can toggle the relay, and here we'll get the information. So to provide this information in parallel, let me make it a little bit smaller. Come on, go to here, make it a little bit more visible. Whoops. What's going on? So now, if I change this, if I want to toggle this relay, or let's clear the view here, it's more easier to see. Okay, here was the temperature, and I toggle now the relay to 0. Press OK. So now there's a new status. If I refresh here the view, you see here also the button that the relay status has changed to 0, changing back to 1. Pressing OK. The relay is switching, toggling, and the relay status will change here. Okay, and quite similar to the BACnet gateway, we have some MQTT data points. So we have this temperature MQTT data point, we have the relay status, and we have also to publish the relay status to the MQTT broker, and we have the subscribe of an external relay status. So our intention now is to write and read via Sympholight the KNX device. We want to toggle the relay as well, and we want to get the status into Sympholight of the current BACnet gateway. Besides this, so we have the status here now. You see now also here the MQTT Explorer on the top. And if I now press the button on the Glass Touch device, you see here the relay status is changing between 0 and 1. And at the bottom, you see here the current temperature. So it's summer, so it's a little bit warmer. Okay. Again, it's quite similar to the BACnet gateway. So you have to provide some data point configurations. So you have the MQTT data points. So if you have a look here. So this is the definition, for instance, for the temperature. We know this is a floor 32. And the topic or the name of this data point is GT temperature, and to simplify this, I provide also the same topic name for MQTT called GT temperature. Just for instance, so we have also the relay status here. We have the toggle information. So in this this is an older information. So I put this as in comment. So this will be ignored by the system. There is a hashtag in front and a hashtag after it, but here this is the toggle status. Okay. Same for KNX. With the KNX, we have also our data points. They are looking quite different. You see here we have this group address. We have the relay status, so the name of the data point, and some format information. So this is the definition of the BACnet KNX information, KNX data points. Besides this, we have this global dispatch. The global dispatch, it's a translation from KNX to MQTT, so how the data points will be transformed into the other protocol. So for instance, now we have here the subscribe of the current subscription of the current relay, and the target is this EEB short address. Same in the other direction, so we want to subscribe this information from the KNX, and we want to publish this information to the relay 1 status MQTT topic. Just to show that it's also directly working from the MQTT, so we have this option to test here. We have subscribed relay 1 toggle status, so it's subscribed from the MQTT Explorer, but you can also publish, and you can also publish the current status. Besides this, now we want to subscribe a new relay status. I already prepared a small, very small Sympholight project. So here you see a send information. So we want to publish a new relay status, and we want to subscribe the current relay status, and we want to subscribe the current temperature. Show you here the monitoring. So bring this in front. So let's change the toggle status. And you see here the relay status, or the relay is set to 0. So it's off now. The information has to be transmitted. But as well, if I switch back to 1, so it's changed in the opposite. Yeah, quite simple. At the other side, you will see here, if I change this, that also the feedback from the relay is here, that I can read out from the touch device, from the relay, the current status. So 1, 0. And if I go now directly to the device and press the button, so you have to trust me. So the button pressing physically, and the status will come back to Sympholight. Okay, so let's clear this again. So your status, and also here in Sympholight, we have the status. And we want to change from Sympholight the status. So, and back to 0. You will see it also in the web UI of the gateway. So you see here the current relay status. Let's refresh this. Okay, the current relay status is 0. We subscribe this. 0, 0, 0. Let's switch. My screen got a little bit full. So make it like this. So now let's change this to 1. Refresh. You see here in the gateway we subscribe the 1. We receive the 1 here, which comes from the Explorer. And it will be transmitted to the via KNX to the relay, and the relay gives us back the 1 that we have this information. Okay, the relay has been switched. So now I press the button again on the button station. Refreshing. Now you see here it switched back to 0. Okay, yeah, quite simple. What else do I have to say? Yeah, it's not that complicated. It's important that you already have some experience with KNX as well with BACnet. So this training was just some onboarding or some pilot information on that. So if you need further information, so feel free to download the manuals from our website. So there's huge manuals. So there's a lot of let's say crazy things you can do with the gateways in both directions. So sensor information, button information, color information, energy information. So in combination with the EQ Genius device, it's also possible to monitor energy via Sympholight, and all this can be reported via BACnet and KNX. It was possible to show some more details today. Feel free to ask questions. If you have any issue, feel free to contact us. So support@eq.com. My name is Marcel. Happy that you follow this training, and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.